Hey guys, this is part 5 of Tmnt X Little Sister Listener, Not Romantic, and this is the final part to this. Um, so yeah. So let's just get into it. The chapter name is Toy Room, and and the story is from Turtle Brat on Wattpad. It had been a few days since any of the guys had talked to April or Casey. Still, Donnie was surprisingly still hurt by April, which everyone figured because even Donnie could see by this point April was never going to like him back. But it was just plain out leading both Donnie and Casey on. But with that, the boys were stuck trying to figure some things out and stuck trying to move on from the past. She does need her own space away from us, Donnie spoke to everyone else. They were in a group discussion in the kitchen where they could only keep an eye on YN watching TV. But what do we do with her? Stick her in one of our rooms alone? Stick her up some random ass rooftop and pray she doesn't get taken or wandered off? Raph Raph questioned. First off, first of all, language, Raph. Second, we can't just leave her be. We still need a place we can keep an eye on her, but let her play around and be a kid. Leo started. Mikey still had his headphones on, listening to music, just quiet enough to be part of the conversation as he made mac and cheese for YN. And in this moment, quiet enough for him to get involved without really thinking. We can always renovate a part of the dojo for YN. And if we need to have splinters and if we have Splinter's room, Mikey, that Donnie started but quickly paused, realizing it wasn't an actual horribly idea. That could work, Mikey. We could dedicate the front or the back of the dojo to toys for her. Move the weapons even higher up, hide them, or even put them in Splinter's old room, and when she's not in there, we can still use it for training. Leo was reluctant to agree, but he saw it as a good idea. So after a minute of washed over sadness, he started to talk and quickly got interrupted. Hell no, that's our dojo, Raph spoke, seemingly upset. YN heard yelling and looked over confused. Raph, it's not an awful idea. It could work really well for what we need, Leo said. But no, screw this. You're not changing that room. Raph spoke, immediately moving out of the kitchen and into the dojo, shutting and leaning against the door behind him, his brothers except for Mikey running after him. But Mikey had to watch the food. Raph, what's your issue? Leo asked, getting increasingly more ticked off with Raph. We're barely even in the dojo anymore, Raph. What's wrong? Donnie spoke. Nothing's wrong, just back the hell off. Raphael, settling himself more against the door. Raph, get over yourself. We're gonna be the reason April forces YN out of our home, Leo yelled, his face completely red with anger. Raph stood up, pissed, and there were tears in his eyes, and he hated to admit were there had hated to admit were there. He opened the door. Maybe I want to keep this room how it is. Maybe I'll start rehearsing every single day in this room. He got cut off by YN clinging onto his leg, and he shut the door again before his brothers could take advantage of him being distracted. Leo immediately banged on the door. You idiot, you can't hide with her. Raph, this isn't fair to anyone, Dunny spoke, but also started to hit the door, trying to tug it open, but Raph just pinned it shut and walked over. Walked trying to tug it open, but Raph just pinned it shut and walked over to the tree, tears streaming down his eyes as he sat with his shell against the tree. Ryan just worriedly walked toward Raph. What's wrong? Why are you crying? Ryan asked. I'm not crying, Raph spoke, avoiding eye contact with Ryan, but his eyes weren't angry anymore, but was sad. But brother, what? Brother, big brother. Raph looked at Ryan, and Ryan just jumped on him, her arms open for a hug. Raph started crying even more, hugging her, and he looked around the room, really taking it in. Wait, I know what this is about, Leo spoke quietly to Donnie, and suddenly his demeanor softened and seemed apologetic. Raph looked at Ryan and hugged her softly. Thank you, Tiny Tot. Raph, sometimes old endings are the start to a new beginning, right? Suddenly the door opened in Leo's face as he spoke. Raph refused eye contact. Ryan was still in his arms, still hugging Raph to the best of her abilities. I think she deserves this as her own playroom. We don't use it as much, I guess, Raph spoke, a heavy sigh falling from his mouth after speaking, and Leo could see a tear fall from his eyes again, and they just went in and hugged him. We miss Splinter too, Raph, but there is another person in this house now, and it's unfair to never give her a proper beginning. And besides, Splinter will probably always love sharing this room with her when she needs time away from us, just like he did, Leo said, still hugging everyone. Thank you, Raph replied. I love you guys, including the kid. They all pulled away from the hug, staring at Ryan. I love you too, brothers. Brothers, Ryan said happily. Suddenly, Raph's eyes went wide. Mention this to anyone or each other ever again, and I'll literally kill all of you, Raph spoke. Baby is afraid of having feelings, Donnie spoke in a mocking baby voice. Leo and Donnie both laughed, but Raph, gaining back his natural angry emotions, calmly put Ryan in Leo's arms and started chasing Donnie. I have no idea what I missed, but food is done, Mikey spoke, an apron around his waist and a smile on his face. Food! Ryan started kicking for Leo to put her down, and he did so. Ryan ran over to Mikey and hopped on his leg. Take me to food, mister. All right, missy. They all sat by the TV watching Ryan's princess movie as they ate. Raph, Leo, and Donnie were all rather bored and slightly disturbed by the movie. It was Snow White, an oddly gruesome and weird movie to show kids, but Mikey and Ryan were completely entranced by it, and barely ate. They were so intrigued, but at least they were happy. After a while, Raph stood up and walked to his room. Then Donnie followed him. You alright, man? Yeah. Raph seemed focused on the bin of things. Raph's shell was in the way for Donnie to get a good look of what was in the bin. What are you doing, Raph? Well, I want to go. Well, I want to go through some old things and see if I think Ryan would enjoy playing with any of them. Raph refused to turn to look at Donnie, but Donnie just smiled. I won't annoy you much longer. Then Donnie spoke as he started walking away. Then he paused quickly and looked back. I hope you know, Raph, you're an amazing brother to her. Thank you. And he walked away. Raph was alone. Raph smiled. For once he didn't feel as down. He felt like maybe he did do something nice. He felt happy about what he did. He was really happy about Ryan joining the family. And maybe Leo was right. Old endings are just new beginnings. And that's the end of that story, and I actually liked the story. It's just, I didn't want it to end. But, bye.